Hello, my loves. Hello. How are you? How you feeling today? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. So what I was just thinking about is how I think I'm gonna drop a jewel that I captured from the movie Sinners every time. Well, not maybe when I feel like it. Before I start to give you a message. So one jewel I want to give you. Let me see which one I want to pick. There's so many in there in that movie. There's so much symbolism. Oh my gosh, it's like full. It's so full. Hold on, I gotta pick one. I should have picked one before I press play. Okay, the person that they purchased the land from, right? He was trying to be friendly and saying, oh yeah, there's no KKK no more, all that. But the plan was to come back and destroy them. And you see that at the end, it was a loop. So it basically is saying that many times people are, I almost want to say forced to do business with devils or snakes. And you don't know unless you know. You don't know unless you have like discernment, or if you're connected to spirit, or even like if you read tarot, you can know if somebody's a snake or not before you do business with them. You can know if something's going to be funny style or shady because spirit will tell you. But for the twins, they clearly didn't use those options. From what I saw, it didn't really look like they were connected spiritually too much, because they were just in survival mode. And the only connection one of the twins had was to his baby mother, to the mother of his child. And she was his spiritual connection. Yeah. So it's like, anytime you do business with the devil, you must expect to reap the consequences, because there's consequences for doing business with people who don't have the same morals and ethics as you, no matter how you look at it. If you're doing business with somebody and they don't have the same morals and ethics as you, it's not going to go well. It's not going to end well for you, because they want to work with you, because there's a sense of control that one has when they don't mean well by you, but they do business with you, because even if it's a thin layer, there is a layer of trust, because you chose to go into business with a person. So yeah, it's like it looped right back around from the beginning to the end, to where the one that they trusted to purchase from, who put on a smile, was the same one that came back with all of his non-ethical friends with no morals, to destroy those that they just sold to. And those were the intentions from the beginning, but the twins weren't really aware of that. And the twins had good intentions. So I just wanted to say that real quick. That's just one of the, there's so many. I was so excited. I think that's my favorite movie. That's my favorite movie right now. One of them. But I think that's at the top. That's at the top of the charts. That movie was amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the topic that I wanted to talk about today. So I really want to talk about the connection that we have with God and what it means to us. You know, a lot of people have like this misconception when it comes to the idea of God, and they're like, whoever you pray to, whatever. But in all honesty, everything we have lived around, everything that our life is full of God. Now, not everybody's going to agree. That's fine. I'm just speaking from a place of my own understanding, and I know what God has done in my life, and connecting myself with the truths that God has given me about me is the realest connection that I've ever had in life, because God has connected me to myself, and I can't unconnect. I can't disconnect. I said unconnect. I can't disconnect from myself, because God brought me to me. I always go back to the will, and sometimes that could be cliche or played out or whatever you want to call it, but it's true. When you think about the fact that God gives you your own will, that means that God makes us gods. So we do what we choose with our life, but it just depends on what we choose. So usually in the beginning we mess up. We be making mistake after mistake after mistake, and even when we do switch our ways and we're on the right path, we still make mistakes. That's a part of life, to make mistakes, right? But once you know you've made a mistake, you don't do it again, even though some people do. It doesn't really make sense to do it again, because you already know that it's not good for you, so you shouldn't do it again. So when you begin to learn what you should not do as opposed to what you should do, you begin to walk on the path of morality and being ethically conscious of your relationships, your whereabouts, like where you decide to reside, who you decide to be around, like what you decide to do for your career choice or your business choice, whatever that is. If you align yourself with the divine in all that you do, you will live a peaceful, beautiful life, because that's just what divine alignment does for you. And walking with a good sense of morals and ethics, you can't go wrong with that, because you're less likely to have somebody come for you. It's less likely, I said. Okay, so let's make that clear. You're less likely to have somebody come for you for some type of revenge, something. Something that has to do with revenge. You're less likely to be around people that don't suit you and your destiny. You're more likely to understand your destiny and where your soul's cry leads you to. You're more likely to understand, because you will be able to listen, because you will be so in tune with yourself at that point that if you go into a direction that isn't for you, you will know, because your spirit will tell you so. You will know it won't feel right. Your whole psyche is gonna start to feel like it's malfunctioning. That's when people are working a job and they don't like it, and they're always mad, they always stressed out. Like, the next person that look at them funny can get cursed out, and they didn't really do much. They probably just glanced over. But when you're so on edge and stressed out about life and about your circumstances, you quick to pop a top. You quick. It's quick. It can happen real fast. 1 minute you think you're fine, next minute you glitch and tweaked out. Okay? It's not a good glitch. It's a glitch that's uncontrollable. If you can't, well, you can't control all the glitches, because a glitch is a glitch. But what I mean is one that is completely from a space of a place that you're not controlling, is what I want to say. I don't even know if that really came out right, but okay, for example, the person that I am making as an example, this no-name person, it's just a person in this circumstance of working at a place that they do not want to work, being around people that they do not want to be around, but they're still around them. They have the ability to change that, but they choose not to for whatever reason, and they suffer. And this is what happens to many individuals that choose not to align with their soul's cry and what they really truly desire to do. So when we connect to God, we connect to ourselves. The true nature, the most purest true nature that is who we are, is a representation of our code. what we stand for, what we believe to be true, what we're passionate about, what love means to you, you know, and recognizing your self-worth to the point of when you, no matter what, when you are in a relationship with anybody and you recognize that you are not being treated as you should be treated, because you want to treat people how you want to be treated, you follow the golden rule, right? So if you're not treating people as such, then you already know that there's an issue. You're malfunctioning for some reason. Because if you're treating people bad on purpose, that means that it's very likely that you're not treating yourself good either. So that's a malfunction of the psyche, because it's not in its natural state. That's like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but that's like trying to put a game for a different game system in another game system. It's not going to work. That's like trying to put a PlayStation game inside of an Xbox or something. Or inside of a Nintendo. And that's extra old if somebody still has one. That's not going to work. And that's the same, well, that's an example of what we as people go through when we are in situations that aren't really meant for us or for us at all. We don't work well in environments that are not in alignment with what we are truly meant to do and who we are truly meant to be. So if you feel a sense of discomfort and confusion, dismay, aggravation on a regular basis, and you just feel like something is not right, it's because it's not. And it's up to you to be able to evaluate yourself and check what is wrong. Why do I feel like this? And then you make the steps to change it. You may not be able to change things drastically, but the things that you can change quickly and you can make a drastic change, do that. And the first thing is people that's not right for you, snip, snip, chop, chop, real quick. That's fast. You can do that quickly. I mean, sometimes you can't under certain circumstances. But my thing is, what you can change it. And what's going to take more time, let it take the time, but take those steps to make the change. And then you'll start to see a difference in how you feel and in how you think. Because a lot of times the environments that you're in and the people that you are around cause you to behave a certain way that's not really your own way. And you begin to adopt and adapt to these ways that aren't your own and that don't really derive from you. They're someone else's ways. And then you take them on, and they're uncomfortable because they're not natural. They're unnatural. It's like foreign. Okay? The relationship that we have with God is the most purest form of relation, I think, that is accessible to us, because God leads you to your spirit and leads you to your soul's cry, and you answer it, and you don't care about what you have to go through in order to live as you are naturally meant to, because that feeling inside of you will keep poking at you, reminding you that you are so much more than your circumstances, as well as you're so much more than what you thought you were supposed to do based off of other people's understanding of the world. Is there anything else I want to say? The connection that we have with God also brings us to our subconscious mind, because God will force you to cleanse your subconscious mind of any debris that is not meant to be a part of you, because your subconscious becomes you, because it becomes your belief system, and whatever you believe, you link to on a regular basis. So everything you say, everything you do, how you behave yourself, how you choose to dress, everything that you do and believe and think, it is intertwined within your subconscious mind, and it becomes like the data bank that you use to make your moves. And if the subconscious mind has information in there, logged inside of there, or saved, like the cloud that we use, to save storage or to store information digitally, it's like, I view that as our consciousness and subconscious mind, because the data that we have saved, that's what we go by, that's what we use. And as we learn more things, we keep on assimilating to what we already know. So if you're under continuous assimilation to lies, you're gonna be jacked up and twisted all up around. You're gonna be twisted I said all up around. You're gonna be twisted. Everything is gonna be confused, and it may not be everything confused, but there can be some aspects of your belief system that could be flawed, and it could harm you in a negative way. Like, some people are completely driven by money only, and they don't think about the psyche. They don't think about their soul. They don't think about their spirit so much. They only think about money. So they gauge people by how much money they have. And many times the people with the most money are most savage. Straight up savage. Don't care. I'll step on you if I can get $500,000. You done for. It is true, because people put money over humanity. And they could be connecting with a beautiful person that wants to help them to feel better from the inside, from the root. But if the person doesn't have a certain amount of revenue coming in or net worth, then they won't connect with them, talk to them, or feel like it's worth anything, because they gauge everybody off of solely the cash, the money, the assets. I mean, those things are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm always going to say that. But peace before all that. You got to know yourself before all that, because it's easy to, how can I say what I'm thinking? It's easy to befriend. It's easy to befriend a devil, because there's so many devils when it comes to that. How can I say? When it comes to that, I guess, tax bracket, you have to be more vigilant, and you have to be more on point once you get to a certain level when it comes to your tax bracket, because those ones up there, they don't be caring about people. People are like pawns to them. People are not even people. People are like numbers and pawns. So to be in touch with yourself is the best thing that one can do for themselves, because you will always recognize, or it'll be easier for you to recognize. I don't want to say always, because sometimes you never know what could happen, but I want to say that it's more likely that you will be able to discern those that don't have good intentions. Just like the movie Sinners, when they did business with that person, and the intentions were bad from the jump. So someone who's driven by money only and gauges people's worth by their assets and their net worth, like the money that they have, it's more likely for them to miss certain signs because they will be so enamored by a false image. This might not be a good thing in many people's eyes, but, and I'm not trying, I don't know how to say this in a way where it doesn't confuse you. Hold on, I gotta figure it out. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm thinking about this social experiment, and it should help me to relay this message. And I believe I mentioned it before, but I like social experiments. I think they're good for everybody to watch because it helps you to see where people's head is at and what people really be thinking about. Like, you know, because that social experiments actually tap into the subconscious of someone's mind, because you see what a person truly thinks and what they truly would do under certain circumstances. So there is this social experiment. Which one was I going to talk about? Now I'm thinking about all the social experiments I watch, and I'm forgetting which one I wanted to mention. Oh, this one. There's a social experiment where this guy went up to a restaurant, and he looked homeless, like, you know, and he just wanted to look at the menu. And they was like, oh no, you can't look at this menu, whatever. He was like, why? I just want to get some food. Can I look at the menu? He wasn't rude or anything. He just asked to look at the menu, and they turned him away. They said no. And then he left, and he went and got dressed and looked real nice, looked like a whole new person. Took all of the rags off that he had, and he was looking fresh and clean, wearing all white. And he was like, oh, can I have a menu? And they gave it to him immediately. So that's one thing. And a part of me kind of understands that in a way, because it's like, and maybe that is a flaw in my subconscious mind. I don't know. But it's biased. It's a biased thought. But in a way I understand, because when it comes to your business, you have to make certain decisions. And it's just a sad truth, but, you know. Now, the next one is, what was the next one? Oh, there was somebody that, okay, this person was acting homeless, and there was a bunch of people. He was in a wealthy area, and there was a bunch of people passing, and he was asking for money, and nobody gave him money. And then he asked someone who was homeless themselves if he could have money, and they gave this person their last $5. And after that, he took off all of his like costume, and then he said, what made you, you know, he explained that this is a social experiment, whatever. And he was like, what made you give me your last if you're having trouble too? And it was like, well, I know how hard it is out here, and, you know, I trust God enough to know that I'll be able to, just as someone gave me that money, and then I feel like you needed it more than me, someone else will bless me, or I'll be able to maybe do a job or do something to where I can get some money again. But I just felt like you needed it more than me. And that just goes to show people who know what it's like to be without are more likely to be more giving because they understand. So that also shows like people who, if they're out of touch when it comes to how there's different people in the world with different problems and different circumstances, you know, and they don't have that misconception that everybody's lazy, then they will understand. Like, you know, somebody who's been through things has a very well-rounded understanding that other people don't have. So they're more likely to help. And now I'm using that example with all of the people who had a certain level of, or they could have possibly had a certain level of wealth, because there's no way for you to scare in people's pockets as they're walking past. But by the way that they carry themselves and how they dressed, the person was saying like everybody that looked clean, like they have a home, they came from a place, they didn't give. But the one who didn't have anything is the one that gave. And I think that's just because of like an understanding that like individuals that are born into wealth may not have, just because they weren't taught about different types of people and circumstances. And that's a subconscious thing there. It's a subconscious It's what is the bias that is locked and loaded in the subconscious mind that makes you move a certain way. So if all those people that look like they had something to give and they didn't give, there could be many reasons, but it's highly likely that something that they learned, something that was taught to them, is in their mind and is kind of tainting their perception. It's kind of rough because, you know, a lot of times if someone who is in need comes up to me, sometimes I want to give, but then I'll start thinking, are they going to go do drugs with it? You know? Are they going to do something like that? Because I don't want to feed that, you know? So I guess it depends on how you think too, but then you never know. And then sometimes people say they're hungry. It makes you just want to go get them some food and give them the food if they're hungry. Like, you know, like those little things. Because I don't want to feed anybody's habit, but it's just a concept that I want to bring to you. Just so you can, like, understand what I'm saying about how certain ways of thinking can be stored within your mind. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always true. But it's really about that discernment, you know, and just knowing that the relationship that you have with God, it makes you more humane, and it makes you actually love people and care about people and want to communicate with them, and you look at others as your brothers and sisters instead of as like enemies. The first thing you should think shouldn't be that, oh, that's my enemy. The first thing you should think is, that's my brother and sister. And then if they prove themselves to be an enemy, that's when they get clipped, chopped. They get chopped off, cut them off. If it's just not the right thing for you, and you realize that that person is not aligned with you, you know? So that's what I wanted to talk about when it comes to God, because God brings peace. Having a connection with the divine, like divine alignment, that's bringing you back to yourself. That's disconnecting you from, that's detaching from the world, from the ways of the world. You detach from the ways of the world when you're divinely aligned. And you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel bad about it. You don't feel like embarrassed or like you have to go along with the people that are attached to the world. And it helps you see things for what they truly are. You don't feed into the illusions that are given to us on a regular basis. And I told you guys about this movie Total Recall, and I started watching it again the other day. I keep on stopping. I don't know, I get distracted and I start doing something else. Whether I start cooking and cleaning, I don't know. I'll just be doing something. Or leaving, I don't know. But I'm almost done, but I still didn't get to the end. But it's the one from 2012. That's when this one was made, not the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not the one I'm talking about. But in that movie, just to give you a gist of it, they were advertising in the movie an option to replace your memories. And it's crazy because that was like I feel like that was a movie of premonition of what is to come. Like, oh yeah, you don't want those bad memories? Let me replace them for you. Yeah, free of charge. I don't know if they charge for it, but I'm just saying. They try to make it seem like it's so wonderful. You replace somebody's memories, you take their whole life away. You take everything that they know away from them. The ones that they love, their belief system, and then you control everything at that point. So hey, I just figured this was something to talk about. That movie was made in 2012. It is 2025. And y'all see what's going on in the world and what's going on with that's it. We right there. That's we here now. We here. And in that movie there was some robots walking around too. Just drop that in there. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about today for this quick message, because my thoughts were like roaming. And I wanted to talk about Total Recall, but I kind of like, I don't know, I'll be talking about so many things with you guys that sometimes I just gotta wait for it to come back so I can tell you. And then when it comes, I'll tell you. But I was thinking a lot about God this morning, and someone that's a part of my soul family sent me a message this morning, and he was just talking about God, and it was such a sweet, beautiful message. And I thanked him for it, because that's the stuff I like to see early in the morning. Like, you know, early in the morning, you see somebody talking about God, and you know what God means to them. And he told me God is love. And I just, you know, I don't know if he got that from me because I say that, or if he figured that out on his own, but it doesn't even matter. It's the point that that's what that man lives by. And it's like, yes, humanity. Yes. We need that. I don't think people think about how much we need humanity right now. Because if there was any other time where we needed humanity, it wouldn't be as detrimental as it is right now to learn to love. And I think that's why Spirit got me talking about love so much, because we need to love each other. And I need you guys to recognize when the love of your life walks into your life, so you don't think that they're dud. I need you to know, you know, I need you to be able to recognize certain things within somebody that loves you. That's why I think Spirit is asking me to do love readings right now, because usually I don't do that, but they actually are. You know, I go with the wave. You know how I am. I'm in flow all the time. And Spirit's like, love readings. Yes, love. Talk about love, girl, because we need love. Love changes the world. Hello. Humanity. The love for humanity. There you go. Just put it together. It's union. It's a union. Love and humanity. That's all we need. That's it. Oh, I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm Mystic Alchemy, and I'll see you in the next